Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on second canto, fifth chapter. So until fourth chapter, what was happening was Parishil Maharaj was asking questions. So first he asked some set of questions, like which are like very crucial for him, because as we discussed, Sukadeva Goswami is very famous that he will not stay in any place more than the time it takes to milk a cow. So whatever the important questions that he wanted to ask, even if Shukadeva Goswami just leaves after 30-40 minutes, that should be so he asked Shukadeva Goswami, Shukadeva Goswami about the important questions. So after hearing Shukadeva Goswami's response for his questions, his interest or his curiosity to hear more about Lord's pastimes, Lord's gunas and leelas, and about Lord's potencies, everything like to hear about Lord increased. So now Lord has different energies: internal energy, marginal energy, and external energy. So internal energy is related to the intimate pastimes of the Lord, which are performed with his intimate devotees. That is related to the internal energy. And marginal energy is something how he maintains and how he deals with this material creation. Means um, like Srushti, Sthiti, Laya, right? So that is Sthiti of the uh, material world. And then the Srushti, the creation of the material world. The matter is the external energy of the Lord. So, like he first started with the basic questions: how this material world is created, the external energy of the Lord. When Parishit Maharaj asked that question, Sukadeva Goswami actually actually performs a Mangalacharan and then glorifies the Lord and describes about how one should meditate on the Lord, otherwise one's life is wasted. And he describes that, and then he started answering Parishit Maharaj's question by quoting the conversation between Lord Brahmaji and Narada. Because in the beginning of creation, after Naradaji appeared, he asked Brahmaji about the similar questions how what Parishit Maharaj is asking. So as we discussed, Srimad Bhagavatam deals with question and answers between the devotees. So and in this chapter we'll be discussing how what are Narada Muni's questions and concern, and how Brahmaji clarifies Narada Muni's doubts, and how Brahmaji also gives what is the difference between himself and Lord Vishnu. Because Brahmaji says some people thinks myself as the ultimate supreme Lord, and so he clarifies it. Because if see, like if there are two parties, and if one party takes the lower position and actually says the facts, see, in fact, uh, like like for a for example, for a child, his father is the hero. Means even if his father is not a very highly placed, not in a very highly placed position, but for a child, his father is the supreme. He thinks that he is a supreme hero. So uh, that is in the early childhood. But as the child grows up, and the when the child recognizes that okay, there is a controller above my father, then the child may ask the father how the system work, and under whom you are like who are you managing, like that. In the same way, Narada Muni asks Brahmaji. Like Narada Muni is saying that we'll see what Narada Muni questions. So Brahmaji gives clarifies Narada Muni's questions, and he gives who is, he defines Lord Vishnu, who is Brahma, who is Lord Vishnu, uh, and also he gives a short description of how the universe is created and description of Virat Rupa. So Narada Muni, like after the creation, when Narada Muni saw like Brahmaji engaged in uh, very intense tapasya, and he see nobody above Brahmaji, and but Brahmaji, if Brahmaji is a supreme person, why he has to do such an intense tapasya? See, tapasya we always do to please somebody, to take humbler position in front of somebody. Means, like for example, if our spiritual master comes, we immediately bow down and we give him an elevated seat, and we sit in a place in a position which is lower than his seat, and then we take humbler position and we uh, we we take up some austerities to serve him, to please him. So austerity is always done to please somebody. So when Narada Muni was seeing Brahmaji, and only Brahmaji was there and nobody above Brahmaji was there, but Brahmaji was doing so much of intense tapasya, hmm, and everything is getting created from Brahmaji. Narada Muni is seeing live, but why, like Narada Muni got wondered why my father is doing so much tapasya. And then he gets a question and he started asking Brahmaji. And he also sees the universe around, and he develops the desire to know about the universe. And he asks these questions. Okay. So Yadrupam, like he Nardamuni approaches Brahmaji and asked and pays obeisance and says, Father, I have some questions. I would like to know about this universal creation. What are the symptoms of this universe? Yadrupam. What are the symptoms of this universe? Means how this universe is created and how far and how wide is this universe, like what are the like elements, like what are the characteristics or symptoms of this universe, and what is its shelter, because like if you see like something like everything needs a shelter. Means like for suppose we all needs earth planet to stay on or to move on or to stay about, or if you want to construct a building you need a place. So and you need somebody to hold that uh, place. Okay, like for example, um, hmm, how can I say, so you might be knowing what shelter means. um, on whom this universe is resting, who is supporting this universe. Okay, and then he asked, who created this universe. Like I only see you, but now I would like to know more about who created this universe. And uh, yet some stum means how is it conserved, means how in what it merges at destruction. Means okay, this is created, if it is created at one point of time, means it has a date of manufacturing date, so it will have an expiry date also. So when it will get destructed, in whom it will get merged, or like in where it will merges into after destruction. And yet param, and what it depends on, means like srushti sthiti and laya, means the universal creation, maintenance and destruction, on what factors it depends on. And then he also asks what is it composed of, what are the ingredients, different ingredients. So these are the questions put forth by Narada Muni. And what are the concerns? Concerns means like he was thinking that Brahmaji was the supreme personality of Godhead, but Brahmaji, as I described, he was intense tapasya. So he is getting questions. Maybe somebody might be there above my father. So then he is asking, you might be knowing everything, and you are independent, because at the Brahmaji is the supreme authority of the universal affairs. So everything is created by Brahmaji, and uh, uh, everything has to be managed as per Brahmaji's instruction in this universe. So you know everything, and you are the independent person, and I know no other source. I see nobody above you. uh, and but based on your activities, based on your tapasya, and based on the way you try to meditate and all the time, I feel that I'm concerned, means I need more clarification on that. So like that Brahmaji, that Narada Muni asked Brahmaji. So upon hearing these questions, if like then Brahmaji immediately becomes very much pleased with his questions. And Brahmaji says, uh, "You are merciful unto me by asking these questions." Mm. Because like we see many people, right? Like they worship Lord Shiva, they worship Lord Brahma. Like so if you take some demons, they worship Lord Brahmaji. They think Brahmaji is the supreme personality of Godhead, because demons cannot approach Lord Vishnu. So among all the three Gunavatars, or the three supreme deities of the universal affairs, the demoniac people either approach Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. And even if we see in the society, there is a great deal of confusion: who is Supreme Lord, Lord Shiva, or Lord Brahma, like or Lord Vishnu. That in the pastime of Bhrigu Muni, he actually tested who is the Supreme Lord for the sake of educating others. And we that is a different pastime. We'll discuss later some other time. Otherwise, we'll discuss. It's only take 2 minutes. Okay, what happened? Like all the sages in the beginning of, I think in other age. Uh, so means like a universal, yeah, yugas go in different cycles, right? Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. It is said that it might have happened in this yuga, or might have happened in the previous yugas also. So what happened? All the sages, they were performing a great sacrifice, and they were confused. There are three prominent deities: Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and we don't know whom to give this yajna, whom this on whose name this yajna has to be performed for the welfare of entire universe. So Mara says that sages, the other, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahmaji understood the confusion of the sages. And they wanted them to know by they wanted to prove who is the supreme person, so that people in general, after uh, uh, general mass, will know who is the supreme personality of Godhead. So like when the sages decided to know who is the supreme personality of Godhead, then actually they asked Bhrigumuni to take up this task and bring the conclusions. So actually this Bhrigumuni goes to first to Brahmaji, and he is the Bhrigu is the son of Brahma. So when son goes to father, he has to pay obeisances. So he done paid obeisances. So Brahmaji got angry, means a little bit of why this is not following the etiquettes, why isn't offer the obeisances. He got he got angry. He got little bit of anger, and he didn't display anything. He didn't say anything, and he welcomed. Oh son, I'm very pleased seeing you, like that he said. But Bhrigumuni identifies this, that Brahmaji was not pleased with his presence, and he became angry within his heart because Bhrigumuni didn't pay obeisances. And he says, okay, you are not the supreme person, and does the needful there, and then leaves from there. And then he goes to Lord Shiva's abode, and there Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati were in an intimate, what you call, they were in an intimate position. At that point of time, he goes, Dugmuni goes there, and this very much displeases like Mother Parvati and also Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva doesn't mind it, but Mother Parvati becomes very much displeased, and uh, but Lord Shiva welcomes Bhrigumuni. Now he says, "Oh my, like he because it is said that Lord Shiva appeared from Brahmaji, and Bhrigumuni also is son of Brahmaji. So Lord Shiva considered Bhrigu as his brother. So he said, "Oh, my dear brother, how are you?" Like that, he approaches him, welcome him. But Brugumani, he wanted to test him. So he steps up the offense. Means he started verbal offense. He says like, you like, who will hug you? Your see your see your waist, means see your what do you call, hmm? How you are dressed, and how like, ashes all over your body, snakes around your neck and arms. uh, what kind of person? Why are you touching me? I'm like that. He actually offends Shiva through his words. And Shiva got angry and he took his Trishula and started chasing Bhrugumani. And Bhrugumani somehow escapes from there and then goes to Lord Vishnu. So there, like he approaches Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is in Yoga Nidra, and Mother Lakshmi was massaging his feet. So he goes there, and he sees no response, and he actually, he wanted to step up the offense here now more. So he goes on physical level. He kicks the chest of Lord Vishnu, and which disturbs both Lakshmi ji and uh, Vishnu. But Vishnu didn't react for that thing. So he coolly, calmly uh, uh, you know, greets Brugumani and then says, "So sorry, your feet might have got hurt by touching my hard chest. Please have a seat," like that. He welcomes him. So there, Brugumani realizes, yes, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though offense was the highest on its highest level, he didn't react violently, or he didn't got agitated. So actually, this is the Leela of the demigod. This is the Leela of where Brahma and Shiva, they wanted to prove to the sages that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why they know what Bhrugu's intentions are, and they know what time Bhrugu is coming to them. But still, they wanted to show them by by this pastime that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's how that is proved there. Now, coming to this section, like Brahmaji at that point of creation also, there are some people who actually think that Brahmaji is the ultimate Supreme Lord. So when Narada Muni puts these questions, I have like I need some information about this universe, and also I need to know more about your position. And Brahmaji become ecstatic. He said, "I'm very grateful for your question, because so that I can give nice clarification. Because when we worship any demigod as a supreme personality Godhead, hmm, like it will be like worship in a mode of ignorance, because it is not the truth. Because even though even though Lord Shiva is the same expansion of Lord Vishnu, but as per the avatar, Lord Vishnu is the source and Lord Shiva is the uh, expansion. So he uh, he actually praises, like Brahmaji praises Narada Muni, saying that you are merciful unto me by asking these questions. So you inspire me to remember the Lord's prowess, and then he gives his clarification. He says, "See, I am only a secondary creator. Means I only recreate which is already manifested by the self-manifesting Lord." What does that mean? It means that major creation, all the creation is done by Supreme Lord only. I only recreate, means just rearrange the things. So that is what you call the Sanskrit term. Yeah, primary creation means like bringing everything, all the necessary material together, and secondary creation means primary creation is called sarga, and secondary creation is called visarga. Sarga, sarga. Okay. So like that, secondary creation means using all the material that is available to him, and then you actually perform again secondary creation. So Brahmaji is clarifying that I only recreate, which is already manifested by the self-manifesting Lord. So basically, it's like we think our body like this is our body, like uh, we ourselves we think when we ask somebody who are you, we generally say the things related to our body, right? No, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm son of so and so, I'm a daughter of so and so, I'm a citizen of this country, like that. Everything is related to this body, and we strongly believe that we are the owners of this body. Mm. So basically it is like no, but the original thing means like the soul of the body, the mind, intelligence, ego, and the material components of the body were given by the Lord Himself. Because even though we might have taken birth to our parents, and our parents don't know that that you are going to appear, and they are not conscious of who is going, like what time you are going to appear. They are only the instruments in bringing us into this world, into this material world. So in the same way, Brahmaji doesn't know in and out of everything about this universe. How this, matlab, how much potency that, what, like, just like our parents don't know what bodily features that we'll be getting, what the body texture means, how much, what should be the color of our body, or what should be the height, and what that specification they don't know, and how you will be going, how healthy you will be, how sick you will be, they don't know. They are only the instruments in bringing us into this material world. So that's why it is said that children comes through the parents, not from the parents. Mm. So So in the same way, Brahmaji also is saying, I am only a instrument in the secondary creation of this universe. Mm. So in the same, Brahma is saying, people bewildered by Maya thinks that I am the supreme controller. Mm. Just like when the child was very young, he thinks that his father is the supreme personality of Godhead. Means his father is not supreme personality of Godhead. His father is the ultimate person. Mm. He is the hero of the child. But later on, when he grows up, then he realizes that his father's power has some limitations. There is authorities above him. So Brahmaji is clarifying this so that this message goes to every person. Okay. So people bewildered by Maya thinks him as a supreme person. So ignorant people identifying themselves with the conception of me and mine think talk nonsense. Means Brahmaji is saying these are all nonsense. Means thinking him as a supreme personality of Godhead uh, and worshipping him as such. Hmm? That's why it is not like if you worship the supreme, like Krishna, if you worship Vishnu, it is very pleasing to the demigods, and demigods will give us whatever we needed. Hmm? But if you worship demigods as a supreme personality of Godhead, it is very much embarrassing for them because they know the fact, and what we are doing is not correct, and they just wanted to get rid of you as quickly as possible. That's why when they appear in front of the persons, like the worshipper, they actually says what do you want, and then this person asks, okay, I want so and so, such and such thing. They immediately grant that boon, or they say it's not in my hands, like that. And then they just want to get rid of that devotee. Means like you be do whatever you want to, you go, and then no, don't come to me, like that. Means if you see, like Lord Shiva, like yesterday we were discussing Lord Shiva about Bhasmasur. uh, he doesn't want to give any benedictions to him, but he appeared and he was asked, and Lord Shiva just granted the boon. Mm. Even the Brahmaji also with for Hiranyakashipu performed so much austerities. Nothing, thinking that Brahmaji is a supreme personality of Godhead, and with the benedictions that he got from the Brahmaji, that made him killed very faster. because of the arrogance he developed later on. So that is the situation. So Brahmaji also says even Maya knows that, even Maya knows the facts, okay? But Maya is the person, Maya is the one who actually bewilders the living entities. If Maya is not bewildering the living entities are fully cognizant of Lord's position and their position, and they will be totally, um, they'll get elevated spiritually. But in order to facilitate the living entity's desire to enjoy independent of the Lord, Maya does this thankless job of bewildering the living entities or testing them if they are sincere in their devotional service. uh, and then that's why Brahmaji says Maya cannot even stand in front of the Lord. But these ignorant people are bewildered by Maya, but Maya cannot even stand in front of the Lord because she was being ashamed of her position. Why being ashamed of her position? Because as per the position of the jiva, the living entity, has to be subordinate to Krishna. And like they are part and parcel of Krishna, they should be serving Krishna. But Maya bewilders them, says, okay, you are the supreme person. You enjoy. You are the creator. You are the maintainer. You are the destroyer. You are the ultimate enjoyer. Everything is meant for your enjoyment. That kind of impressions Maya gives to the living entities. And when she comes in front of Supreme Personality of Godhead, she knows the fact and she feels very ashamed to stand in front of her, the Lord. That's why it is said that backside of the Supreme Lord, like Maya goes and said, cannot even in front of the Lord, she stays behind the Lord. So, and then after explaining this, then Brahmaji, after giving this clarification of the understanding of Narada Muni, then Brahmaji started explaining the questions put forth by Narada Muni. So he says, what are the symptoms of the universe? Okay. So the five components of the universe are non-different from Lord Vasudeva, being his differentiated parts and parcels. Nothing exists. Nothing exists, but nothing exists, but he exists in truth. Okay. So what he's saying is, whatever you are seeing around is only a manifestation of Lord's energies. And because it is coming from the Lord Vasudev, Lord Narayan, and uh, it is non-different from him. That's how the pure devotees see the world around them. They see everything, how everything is related to Krishna. Anything related to Krishna is should be respected in the same on the same level of Krishna. So Brahmaji is saying here, like what these five, the five components of the universe. These five components are the jiva. Jiva means the living soul. Dravya is material wealth. Hmm? Anything like any material thing, earth, water, fire, air, ether, like that. And kala, the time factor. Karma, karma is the activity performed by the jivas. Okay, and swabhava, the nature. So these are the five symptoms of the universe. And based on different based on the karma or based on eligibility of the living entity, the different jivas are empowered in a different way. Like one jiva will have lot of wealth, another jiva will have less wealth, and one jiva can live for long period of time. Means the kala potency is more for the jiva, and Swabhava, everything is actually empowered. This empowerment is given by the Lord Himself. And these are all coming from Lord Vasudeva Himself. So these are the symptoms of the universe. Anything that we see around Him is actually effect of all the combination of these factors. Hmm. And next he moves on to next question. Hmm. He says, Yad Adhishtanam means what is the shelter of the universe? Shelter means On what basis one can understand, on whom this universe is resting actually. See, for one to understand the universal affairs, like Brahmaji says, Lord Narayana is the shelter of whatever you see in this universe that is worth taking shelter of. So there are different ways that one tries to say, no, there are different paths, no, um, like you have to study Vedas, and you can Jnana, Tapa, Yoga, Moksha, uh, and different lokas where you can take shelter, and different devatas that you can worship. So these are the different ways, no, like Veda means the knowledge that is coming from Lord like Lord Vishnu, that is coming through Brahmaji, and Gati means the way it moves, everything moves around, because the planet has some gati, the pace that which the, like you can also say the time factor, with everything moves. And then jnana means the knowledge that we acquire through our endeavors, and tapa, the austerity, and yoga, and we all know what is yoga means. Yoga means being connected to Lord Hari, and moksha, the liberation, and different lokas. So one may think all these factors as different kinds of shelters, but Lord Narayana is the shelter of whatever you see in this universe. Because until the potency of Narayana is, until you can't see Narayana through any of the shelter, it is worthless. For suppose you are studying Veda, the ultimate conclusion that you have to derive from the study of your Vedas is that Lord Narayana is the supreme person and he is the ultimate shelter. Or if you know, if you are at perform any tapasya or any yoga, or even if you are liberated or or conditioned, ultimate thing that you have to take shelter is through Lord Narayan. So it's the only thing that is worth taking shelter of. Okay, so that's what Brahmaji clarifies to Narada Muni. Means Narada Muni is saying you forget everything and just engage yourself in the service of Lord Hari. Means perform bhakti towards Lord Hari or Narayan. And he further clarifies, no, I am also created by Lord Narayan. Hmm? And like this, like no, just a child asks, who is your father, like that. When Narada Muni asks this question, is there anybody above you? Then Brahmaji gives this clarification that he is also created by Lord Narayan. And what is his position? Okay, then you are created, and everybody is saying around you, everybody around you is saying that you are the creator. Then he gives clarification about his position. I only create what is already created by the Lord Narayan, the transcendental Lord. Then what does how come, like so he gives further clarification how Lord Narayan accepted three gunas of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So the original Lord Narayan, he expanded himself into Brahmaji, Vishnu, and Shiva for the purpose of creation, maintenance, and destruction. And he accepted gunas. Gunas means, accepting gunas is a lower profile for Lord Narayan. But for the sake of mm, creation of this creation, maintenance, and destruction of this universe, he accepted the gunas. And but Lord Narayan is always transcendental. And these three gunas bind the jivas, putting the conditioned souls under the bondage. So, so because of the interaction of these three modes of nature, the jivas are put into different in different action. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right? Even though everything is carried out by the nature itself, the conditioned soul thinks that he is the doer. See, unless you have that nature, unless you have a little bit of sattva, you will not be able to perform anything related to sattva. Unless you have rajogun, unless you have the no, factor of no, doing the action, performing the action, you will not be able to perform that. And unless you have the tamogun, you will not be able to no, even take rest also, even to go to sleep also. No, for the body to retain, it needs a little bit of tamogun also. So no, the conditioned souls I'm talking about. No, the pure devotees are no, are the great exalted personalities, they can actually stay without even rest, even without a tinge of tamoguna also. So these three gunas actually they bind the jiva. It is like how the three gunas interact and how like actually everything is performed like gunas only. Like sometimes you see you don't want something, you don't like something to happen, but it happens. And sometimes you don't see, you don't put much endeavor, but something positive happens. And you don't, and you put great endeavor to avoid something, but something helplessly uh, that negative thing happens. Like for suppose I give you, sometimes we get up early in the morning, and when we perform our sadhana, it is very easy to control our mind, and it is very easy to focus our perform our activity of doing sadhana in the morning, early morning. Why? Because our mind and our surroundings are in the mode of goodness. But when you work all day long and you are tired, and in the night you have your sadhana is left over, and you are trying to do sadhana in the night, and you are helplessly feeling sleepy, means the mode of ignorance is coming up, and you are very helpless. And also with this example can be applied to many things, like controlling our mind from tempting objects, or not being angry on some persons uncontrollably. These things come up. This is all because of due to the modes of nature. So the Maya is such that even though Maya acts through the modes of nature, but it gives the illusion to the jiva that he is performing everything. So, so these three gunas bind the jiva, putting the conditioned souls under bondage. So jivas cannot see the Lord due to being the covered by three gunas. So somebody is under the influence of three gunas, they cannot see the hand of God in their life, or they cannot even see the Lord or Krishna, uh, like when they are covered by these three gunas. So that's why Brahmaji is giving clarification about like these three gunas, how the conditioned souls under the influence of three gunas, they actually cannot see Lord Narayan, and they think Brahmaji is the highest. So when Brahmaji is not talking about you and me, like Brahmaji might be talking, but at the point of time, it is the discussion is happening in the Brahmaloka. The personality surrounding him are very exalted. They are, when somebody was able to reach Brahmaloka means they are in a very better condition, very far better condition than us. So so when the jivas, when even the person in mode of goodness, he cannot see the Lord. Okay. So they should be on the transcendental platform. Then he explains about the how the creation takes place. Okay, so Brahmaji explains that now, like how creation takes place. Uh, we all know about like Karnodaksha Vishnu is the expansion of Lord Krishna. Hmm? So we'll discuss how these expansions work later. So I'll give a short review, short um, note. Like so from Lord Krishna, first expansion is Balram. From Balram, first Chaturvya comes. First Chaturvya is Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva. And from the from the Sankarsana of the first Chaturvya comes Narayan. And from that Narayan comes second Chaturvya. Second Chaturvya, second set of Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. So from the second Sankarshan comes the expansion of Mahavishnu. So from this Mahavishnu, he goes and the Mahavishnu lies on the Karna ocean. So that's why he's called Karanodakashayi Vishnu. So and from the breath and from the skin pores of Mahavishnu, different universes emanate. Means all the universes emanate from Lord Vishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu, and uh, and these universes emanate, and they are they are only they don't have anything. They just like raw material. So then Lord Vishnu glances at the material universes that emanated from him, and empowers them with the Kala and Jiva. So that's why this material universe itself is called Prakriti, and the glance of Lord Vishnu is called Shiva, Shambhu. So uh, this material universe has like no, just like it's like an egg, and then the glance of Lord Vishnu, through his glance he puts the time factor and the jivas into the Prakriti, and then material nature. Uh, he actually first it is called Pradhan. So this Pradhan has three modes in inactive or undifferentiated or unmixed state. Means these three modes, right? We discussed Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. These are required for the person to have a material body, or to be able to lead the life in this material universe. So these three gunas in the beginning they were in a unmixed state, an undifferentiated or in undifferentiated unmixed state, and then when they when they are agitated, then it leads to Mahatattva. It becomes Mahatattva, from Pradhan to Mahatattva. And in the in the Mahatattva, in the Sattva gun, it will Mahatattva in Rajogun. Mahatattva in Sattva gun is called, sorry, Mahatattva in Sattva gun, and Mahatattva in Rajogun is called Sutra Tattva. And this Mahatattva uh, covered by Tamogun, it becomes Ahankar. So when from Ahankar comes the goodness, passion and ignorance in the material world. So until this point of time, until Mahatattva stage, uh, like these are all nothing is manifested. Means the no jivas, no, they don't get any bodies or anything like that. So after this Ahankar, then there comes different shaktis, like from goodness, passion and ignorance. So this from goodness, like karta, the doer, gnana shakti comes, and from gnana shakti, adi daiva is comes, means like mind and ten senses or ten sense devatas, and from mode of passion, karana or kriya shakti, adi atmika aspects, like not pranas and ten senses, intelligence comes. And from mode of ignorance, adi bhuta, means the five tanmatras. Tanmatras means five gross, uh, the gross things, okay, like earth, water, fire, like that, okay. So these are different factors that are required for the, like if you see the last row, the last row is the final product through different modes, and they are required, they should be present in each and every living entity for it to have its, no, it should have a little bit of sattvagun, it should have a little bit of rajagun, it should have a little bit of tamogun, for a soul to be conditioned in this material world. So that why this conditioning, this ahankara will cover up entire jiva, so that it cannot see the presence of the supreme personality, it cannot feel, even though it is lying on the impersonal, like no, in the Brahman, but still it cannot see the, it cannot feel the presence of the Lord, and it thinks that okay, nobody is there above me. That ahankar only develops due to these coverings. And then the how this universe is created, okay. So it is said that from sound ether is developed, and from ether touch is developed, and from touch air is developed, and from air form is developed, and from form fire is developed, and from fire taste is developed, and from taste water is developed, and from water smell is developed, and from smell earth is developed. So it will be little bit of confusing, like how this from one element into one element to one element like that. So the easy way to understand, I will let you know later on. And also we saw, right, devatas, how they develop mind and 10 senses, 10 sense devatas. So each of the sense of all the living entities are managed by 10 sense devatas. Okay, ears are managed by Dig devatas, eyes are managed by Surya, skin are no is the Vayu is the Vayu is the predominant deity for the skin. Nose for Ashwini Kumaras, tongue for Varuna, hands for Indra, feet for Upendra, Agni for voice, Mitra for anus, and Prajapati for genitals. So now, to understand this process of creation is little bit of confusing. So one of the preacher, what he said, the best way to understand this process of creation is reverse the process of creation. Means like how the process of it is, the process of creation is reversing the process of destruction. Mm. So in the let us see, if you go in the reverse way, from earth smell comes, right, in the like in the material world, everything is in the process of destruction, right? So from earth smell comes, and from smell water comes, and from water taste comes. Okay, and means like if you want to taste anything, you need the help of water. Without water you cannot taste anything. You can try that. When your skin tongue is dry, even if you put a like a palatable dry thing on your skin, no drop of water should be there. So from water taste comes, from taste fire comes. So and fire, what it will does, it will burn off all the forms. If anything has a form, when you put it in the fire, it will lose its form. So that is, in the process of creation, from form the fire comes, but in the process of destruction, from the fire form loses its that any object loses its form. Okay, so the it loses its form and it becomes air, right? If you put like, for suppose some charcoal is there, like our wooden plank is there, you put in the fire, it loses its form and it becomes air. So from air, touch develops. Because of presence of air under the skin only, then we are able to feel the touch. So from the uh, due to due to touch, ether is there, like, what can I say, ether and touch. Okay, so actually in the beginning of creation, everything is emanated from the sound. Okay, so in the destruction process, ether will merge into the sound. So when you reverse the process of creation, it will be process of destruction. So everything in this material universe is in the process of destruction. So the process of creation is reversal of process of destruction. Okay, that is the easy way to remember, easy way to understand also. So then he says how, uh, yatha srishtam, the kriya shakti. Okay, as long as, like, until this point of time, these 23 elements are created, 10 senses and 10 here, 5 tanmatras like that. So 23 elements. Okay, 10 senses here, 10, 20, and plus 3 elements. 3 elements are mind, intelligence, and ego. Okay, so these 23 elements, as long as the 23 elements are not assembled, bodily forms are not created. Okay, so the elements are assembled by large compacting energy. They created the whole universe and the universal bodies. So until this point of time, the universe emanated from the body of Mahavishnu, and Lord has sent forth his energies in the form of Kala and the Jivas. And then everything is there in the universe. But until Lord enters into it and man started working on it, it doesn't manifest. For suppose, no, like, like if there is a kitchen and you put all the raw material, you put vegetable, like you bring vegetables and put in the kitchen, you bring rice, you bring the flour and you put everything in the kitchen. And until a person goes there and starts chopping the vegetables and preparing the rice and preparing all the sweets and somebody prepares that, nothing gets manifested. In the same way, all the raw materials are ejected into the Prakriti. But until Lord enters into this universe as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and with his the universe remained in the causal ocean for thousands of years before Lord Vishnu enters into them and assembled the Virat Rupa, and then he manifested himself, in the form of Virat Rupa, and then with thousands of legs, arms, and mouths and heads. When we say thousand, Sastra in the Sanskrit means unlimited. Okay, so these thousand, when we say thousand means unlimited legs, unlimited arms, unlimited mouths, and unlimited heads, etc. So with his all these senses, Lord has manifested these different bodies. So now let us compare it with the how a birth of a child takes place. Okay, so birth of a child takes place in the womb of a mother, and mother is doing nothing. Hmm? She is just taking care of the body. Hmm? The same way, this universe is impregnated already by Lord, by through Lord's glance, and everything is manifesting through the energy of the Lord. Means Lord has entered into this universe and then manifesting this jivas. Okay, so assembly happens after Lord's Maya Shakti. Lord through his Maya Shakti he assembles. Okay, we are talking about the universe now. Okay, and after thousand years of inactivity, Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into the universe and enlivens it. Due to the presence of the Lord, then everything started happening in the universal universe. All the jivas are created. He then expands into Virat Rupa. So that is the process of primary creation. Means he gave the body and then he actually he did the primary creation, and then he expanded himself into Virat Rupa for even for the creation and also for even for the primary creation and for maintenance also. So in terms of planetary systems, like they are said like there are 14 planetary systems, right? So how he expanded, like Brahmaji explains, Satyaloka is like head of Lord Vishnu, the head, and the Tapoloka is breast or lips, okay, or Janaloka is the neck, okay. Just these for our understanding, okay. It is not like it is actual head or Vishnu, but the things happen like that. Satyaloka, very intelligent people are there, and Tapoloka is, and Janaloka is like a neck, and then Maharloka is on the region of chest, and Swargaloka is in the region of heart, and Bhuvarloka is in the region of navel or navel to heart, means heart to navel. We are coming from top to bottom, right? From heart to navel, Bhuvarloka is there, and Bhurloka is in the region of navel, and Atalaloka is in the region of waist or buttocks, and Vitala are in the region of thighs. Sutara is in the region of knees, and Talatara is the shocks or coughs, and the Mahatala Loka is in the region of anklets, like it can be compared. And then Rasatala is the upper portion of the feet, and Patal Loka is the sole of the feet. So this Virat Rupa can also be explained in terms of these also, like Brahmanas, like Chaturvarna Maya system, right? This like Brahmanas becomes the mouth or head of the Lord, and Kshatriyas are the arms, Vaishyas are the thighs, or no, Vaishyas also can be compared to the stomach, and Sudras are the legs. And one more Virat Rupa form is Sargaloka is the upper head to chest to head, and Bhuvarloka is the middle no, stomach region or navel region, and then Bhurloka is lower legs and lower. Okay, so lower body. So what Virat Rupa means? how Lord Vishnu can be perceived through the material creation. Until the presence of Lord Vishnu is there, nothing is manifested. Now, how Lord Vishnu has maintaining this universal affairs through his expansion, and how this darshan of Vishnu can be seen in this universe is through his Virat Rupa. Means, if you see, like in terms of these lokas, Lord is maintaining different lokas, okay, like heads, like through, like just just by and also like through Chaturvarnas. If you take any race, any anywhere in this world or in other worlds also, there are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, and they are all required for the maintenance of this universe. And also, no, Sargaloka, Bhurloka, and Bhuloka, they are also required. No, like in Sargaloka, more pious people live, and Bhurloka, more persons in more of passion will live, and in uh, Bhurloka or lower planet system, the people in mode of ignorance will live. So this is how Lord is maintaining everybody in this universal creation. So Brahmaji explains all these things, and then finally uh, he explains the further questions in the next chapter. So we'll end it here. If you have any questions or comments or need any more clarification, we can discuss.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
Yeah, in this chart, it's Bhuvarlok and Burlok, two are there. What is the earth? Is that Bhuvarlok or Bhulok?
Yeah, Earth is in the middle place. Bhuvar Lok
Oh,
is
in
Earth.
between those two, Prabhu?
Yeah, middle one is Earth. Burlok is like lower planetary system, starting from Atala, Burloka, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Atala, Atala, Rasatala planetary systems. Bhuvar
Oh,
Loka.
mhm.
Bhuvar means Earth, earthly planetary system.
Okay, okay.
So number 6 is earthly planet.
Yes, Mother.
Okay.
So, any more questions?
When we saw the charts and you are explaining, it's kind of look like easy, Prabhu, but we don't know actually. When we read, we'll have maybe more questions.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
You understood, right? Everything what I explained?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Because the charts are making easier actually. So,
This is made by Vidyapeeth, actually. Okay, we'll end it here and then